Andy, this is going to get loud here for just a few minutes.
No problem.
I'm just warning you. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Insurance agents from around the world, welcome to the Insurance Guys podcast. My name is Scott Howell, your fearless host and leader, insurance agency owner and insurance evangelist for I Protect Insurance and Financial Services, based out of Huntsville, Alabama. And before we get started on today's episode, please help me welcome. He is a 6'3" sophomore from Southern California, a parade first team All-American, Rivals 5-star recruit. He is the founder and CEO of Outmarket AI. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome my new co-host, Mr. Vishal Sankhla. How are you, Vishal?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thank you
Excited
for
to host
being
with you,
here.
yeah.
Guys, we have a co-host, Bradley Flowers. Hey, Bradley.
Hey, everybody. I'm
Bradley-
proud to play third fiddle today. It's fine.
Bradley Flowers, we have an outstanding episode. As you well know, for the past 817 years, we have been helping insurance agents any way we can. It is a three-legged stool. And today, ladies and gentlemen, today we have a very special guest, a man that can help everyone listening to this. You need to pull over on the side of the road. Be safe about it. Make sure you put your blinker on. Pull over on the side of the road. We are about to have a great American on this podcast, but we're also going to have a very successful insurance agent and CEO that I think you guys are really going to want to listen to. His perspective on the industry today, how he got here, where he sees the industry going. I am so excited to have him on the show. But before I introduce him, Bradley, I have a story to tell.
Okay. I'm scared.
Guess what I've been doing for 2 hours today?
See,
No. Meeting with auto owners to discuss I Protect
Oh.
Insurance getting a contract. I
How did that go?
intentionally did not bring your name up.
that was probably a good
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, smart. Had a great meeting today. We've already done this once. This is our second go around. Our previous auto owners rep, shout out to Katie. She was transferred or took another position within the company and moved up to, I believe, the Missouri area. But we had a great time today. We met with our Alabama rep here, the new Alabama rep, and we'll see what happens. It's just one of those things, auto owners is one of those companies that they don't move quickly. They're very intentional about the things they do. And it's not going, it's a little bit like, one of these, like a Progressive job interview. How many interviews did they say they did at Progressive? 9? I believe it was.
Yeah. It's about what I'm going through right now is we're interviewing people. I've got 16 candidates and I would hire all of them.
Damn.
So I want to do that. Just find out who wants it,
Bradley, it's just money. Just hire them all.
That's what we're going to do. Yeah, we're just going to do that.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to bring our very special guest star on today. I'm so excited. As I say every week, this podcast is a three-legged stool. We have technologies such as Outmarket AI. In my opinion, one of the most incredible technologies we have in this industry. So we've got that. That's one leg of the stool. Then we have extremely successful insurance agency owners that can help you hopefully one day become what they are, which is extremely successful. And that's the guy we have on today. And I want to give him the introduction that he's always deserved. Ladies and gentlemen, he is originally and currently resides in Louisville, Kentucky. He is a graduate of Western Kentucky University with a bachelor's degree in marketing, and he is an extremely proud father of 3 who loves all things around the water, including boating and water sports. He loves his job, and he thinks it's a privilege to do it each and every day. He has a deep appreciation for fitness and the importance of a routine to keep his priorities in order. With more than 2 decades of leadership experience in insurance and business development, he brings a deep understanding of operational excellence and partnership building. My God, I've been talking about that for 2 hours today. That is auto owners, relationships. His career includes executive roles in the insurance industry and entrepreneurial ventures, equipping him with a unique perspective on growth and collaboration. He is today the CEO of Houchens Insurance Group, one of the largest privately held insurance agencies in the United States of America. And since assuming the role in 2022, he has led the organization through strategic growth initiatives, including market expansion and strengthening its, here it comes, ladies and gentlemen, y'all better listen to this, strengthening its employee-owned culture through an ESOP structure. Under his leadership, HIG has consistently ranked among the top 50 insurance brokers nationally and earned multiple best places to work honors. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my profound honor today to introduce to you first-time guest on the IGP, Mr. Andy Barker. How are you, Andy?
Awesome, man. What a great, well, thank you for the introduction. I
Dude,
love the energy.
dude, you've done it all. You are if I could pick a guest for the IGP to talk to the 50,000 insurance agents that listen to this program every week, you're the guy. I want you, well, first of all, I've got so many things to talk about. I know you're super proud of your kids. And before we climb in my DeLorean and go back in time and talk about how you got into this crazy industry we call insurance, let's talk about a few other things that maybe you don't know I know. So, I wrote down a couple of things here that I found to be very interesting. Where are they? Here they are. Here we go. You own your own D1 sports training gym. That's fantastic. That speaks to your passion for fitness and health. Let's talk about that for just a second. What's it like to own your own gym?
I'm blessed to have great people to run it, first of all. So it's ownership and it's accountability for me, because then you have no excuse then when you own it. So that's really what's
right.
Yeah, you can't be a fat gym owner.
Exactly,
That doesn't work.
So with that comes a responsibility and accountability overhead. But partnered with one of our producers here, one of our top producers here, and he and I, along with a couple other true fitness trainers, what came together and bought the D1 franchise. But also proud to say they're a client of ours, and we represent several of them across the country. So you'll see that common theme in anything that I do. I'm usually involved with it because of the insurance that is associated with it. So, man, I've been blessed so many ways. It's by all means, I think that sound body, sound mind is an important part for us to be successful in life. And D1 has been able to give that to me, and I wanted to be part of that. And when it came available to be sold, we took advantage of it. To say it's a big money making venture would not be the truth, but from a quality of life, accountability, my wife works out there, my friends work out there. I have an unbelievable accountability group, and matter of fact, our organization, Houchens Insurance Group, are all members there from that perspective. So they come into our office twice a week. We believe in passing that same fitness culture throughout our organization. So blessed with that, and honored to be associated with a great organization like D1, honestly. So we try to uphold ourselves with the company that we keep, just like we do in all partnerships.
Do you ever feel like, I love when I have a friend who owns a business that's like a gym or restaurant or something like that, reaches out to me for like advice on maybe a marketing campaign or how to structure something. And it's fun when you work in such a regulated industry like we do to flex your muscles in something that's not really regulated at all. Like I can't wake up this morning and say insurance is 15% off today, but I could do that at a gym. Does that kind of fit that outlet for you a little bit? It's a little more fun.
Man, Bradley, you hit it now. It absolutely, it's something different to add that to that variety. Of course, I love our industry. I'll tell you a little bit about that story, about how we got to where we are. So It's hard to compete. I think it's one of the best secrets out there, to be honest with you. But having some association with a couple other businesses that I have like that, which I find experts that know how to run them. I'm a big believer in partnering with the right people, and but then you get to add your little bit of flavor to all of that and bring newness to it. So yeah, I love that part of it, and just being able to have some input into those things and how to make them better. But especially when you're a client of those things, and really get to experience on a daily basis, creating an environment that you'll find out I'm all about the client experience, and that's a consistent theme in everything that I do, especially with insurance. So.
Well, it's one of those things too, like the way that the customer pays you for a gym membership is very similar to insurance. You know, like Scott and I have a friend who sold his insurance agency and opened a pest control. And he's like, basically, it's insurance. It's like I'm approaching it the same way, and they've scaled it up really quick. But it's always fun to me to see the similarities in two different businesses.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more rewarding than seeing somebody that is not physically in shape and watch them go through that stage of going through that. I worked out with a gentleman today. He had his 250th workout. He's lost 56 pounds, and he is a machine today. He was not a machine 2 years ago when he started. And man, just to see that, like the hair to sit on my arms when I tell you that story. Brendan is a sensational, and you know, he just walked in that gym one day, and we had to create an experience there that had kept him coming back. And that's what we want to do in all that we do. But just like your friend in his business, a restaurant, whatever we want to talk about, insurance, man, we want that repetitive experience to be consistent and to be something that is memorable to them and life impacting. And for him to say, "Hey, I worked out 250 times. Will you get a picture with us today?" And there's nothing more rewarding from my perspective. I want that same experience inside and outside anything I'm associated with.
Well, and it's a good segue too to Vishal as well, because I was having a conversation. We're doing a hiring blitz right now, and a lot of the candidates I'm interviewing are with more like old school agencies, and I'm kind of going through some of the technology we're using, and I was actually showing somebody out market, Vishal, and she was like, "I'm doing all this manually right now," and I said, you know, a lot of people think, especially people that don't use technology, they think that technology replaces the customer experience, but it actually enhances it. Because what it does is it takes away the mundane work so that you can spend. It's going to save you time. What should you spend that time on? Interfacing with your customer and working on your experience and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that's exactly what we have seen, Bradley, is, and Andy brought up a great point. I think a couple of things I want to call out is one, when you use your own product, like it gives you that deep appreciation of what the end client experience should look like, right? I mean, I've spent my time at Uber and Meta, and both of the companies were like really pushing you to like use your own products, right? And give us that feedback. And when we kind of at Outmarket, when we see like what people are able to do once like they are not doing a lot of this time consuming work, they are thinking about the client. They have that extra time to now go in and look at sort of, let me create and spend this extra time I have to look at like a summary of everything I've done for this client in the entire year and put that together. Like historically, it's very hard for them to like do that just because they just don't have time. They're strapped for resources. So now being able to do that and put that extra touch in terms of the service they provide is what really truly differentiates, right? I was hearing a story from a customer where they had a client reach out and they've been reaching out to their like, you know, existing agency for a certificate. They've emailed a few times, like didn't hear it. It was like 2 weeks and they're still not able to kind of get a certificate going. And they were like, let me just call this other agency. And they got on the call and like just being able to talk to them and having that experience. And then they BR'd the account, they got the account and they were able to issue the certificate. And guess what? They're investing in an experience where the clients themselves can log in and get their own certificates. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that customers are now expecting that level of service from like, you know, from like to Andy's point to the gym they go or the insurance company that they work with is like they want that next level of experience. And how do we free up people to provide that experience, right? So that's what we are focusing on, yeah.
Well, it's like, you know, insurance will never be bought and sold like, you know, I bought a vacuum on Amazon today. But that's what they expect. And so we have to try to get as close to that level of customer experience as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bradley, you know, it's interesting you say that because we talk about it all the time inside of our four walls, and especially in our partnership with Vishal is that what we want is we want to enhance the back-end experience so much that we can truly take a true customer experience on that final mile to the clients, what we talk about all the time. And how do we enhance that by taking all these other things and not and having them automated and efficient and effective, where not only is it making better opportunity for those people to focus specifically on that last mile so they can enhance the sales experience, but also for truly enhancing the employee experience while they're working inside that system. Because when we're implementing the things that we've been able to do without market, Vishal and his team, that's changing the quality of their jobs and what they're doing and where their focus is and their effectiveness. And I don't know that we were able to measure that on the front side. And it's a hard thing to put a metrics to. But if you put a job satisfaction perspective or metrics around that, you would see that we have vastly improved there, and people are enjoying their jobs more so than ever before, because they're not facing 6 tons of paperwork on their desk, because they're able to efficiently be able to get through that and able to focus on the most important thing, which is that final mile to the client.
I'll tell you a quick story, and then I'll let Scott get back to it, Andy. I don't think I've told this on the podcast. I know I've told this in like public settings before. So I get a phone call. When we started our agency, I cared a lot about the user interface of our systems. And I could never put my finger on why, but I needed it to look futuristic, right? And I'm a younger guy. I was a younger guy when I started the agency, even though I don't look it. And it was, by natural, I'm going to hire younger people. And I got introduced to a guy who was the go-to-market lead for insurance at Apple. And we get on the call. And for those of you listening, a lot of the big tech companies will have someone who's in charge of an industry, and their job is to make the products better for that industry. That's what that role does. And he said, he was telling me this, and he said, my job is to make Apple products work better for the insurance industry, carriers, brokers, agents. And we were particularly interesting to him because we're one of one agency in Alabama, all on Mac. And he said, you're taking insurance agencies are going to hire Gen Z and now Gen Alpha coming into the workforce. This group has been on at the Apple ecosystem, the majority of them, their entire life. And you're going to sit them in front of a Windows computer, in front of legacy tech that looks like an Excel spreadsheet, and expect that does not have a negative impact across the future of the insurance industry. And I said, you just explained to me why I care what user interface looks like. Because I think the tech discussion we have around customer experience is great, but employee experience, I think, is even more important.
Talking my language, Bradley. And truly being able to do that, think about our ability to be able to do that and what impact that has for them to deliver a good experience to the client when they are having that relational conversation, whatever. It could be at a cert, or it could be even to a claim perspective, but they're able to fully focus on that versus think what else they need to be doing other than that. And that's what our whole model is about. It's proving the quality, effectiveness, and truly the experience from that perspective. So, sorry, I didn't mean to get off there.
No, you're good.
That's something I'm passionate about. That's why we've made such great partners.
So Andy, it's time for you to climb in this DeLorean with me.
All right.
Let's go back in time for just a minute. You were running sales, Cingular Wireless, over 200 people, I believe, employed. And how did you trip one day and fall into the insurance industry? I just want you to go back in time, talk about how you got into the industry, and then just kind of bring us up to today.
Well, so first 10 years of my career was with Bell South, full corporate environment. And Bell South at that point in time, they had a Bell South Mobility, turned to Cingular Wireless, eventually at AT&T. So I got to experience that side of the house. I was very fortunate, as you mentioned earlier, to go to WKU, and I was in a fraternity there and had fraternity brothers that were in the insurance industry, specifically in the agency side of the house. And we had talked several times. We stayed in close contact. In my role as I continue to evolve inside of Bell South, they asked me if I would come speak at a producer retreat, and I said, "Well, sure. I'll go play golf and drink some beer and have a good time with your producers." And so we did that, and they had 15 producers at that point in time, and had an unbelievable experience with those guys, and saw something special while I was there. In that trip, I saw a bunch of individuals that cared about the success of the young folks that were coming up in the industry, and a pride about their industry that I hadn't experienced before. And kind of went back home, got back to work. About 2 months later, those same fraternity brothers approached me and asked me if I would ever consider coming to work for them inside of that environment. And I barely knew how to spell insurance at that point in time. That was in 2002, and so went to bed that night, told my wife about it. We'd been our whole mission to live in Nashville. We were living in Nashville at that point in time, and we both woke up the next morning and looked at each other and said, "I think I'm supposed to go." And for some reason, God put that on our heart, and even my wife agreed to that, which I thought she'd been completely against that. And we moved into the insurance industry in October of 2002, and moved to Bowling Green, Kentucky, which I never thought I would live, because that's where I went to school. And we haven't left since. And it has been an incredible experience for me. I came with no insurance knowledge, and have been awed by the industry. So thankful that I got introduced to this industry, and think it's one of the best kept secrets in the world from a career perspective. And honored to be part of it. Big believer in protection of the independent agent, and what we do and how we do it. And it's just become a passion of mine. And probably the biggest passion is watching young people, the same reason why I came, watching young people be successful and reaching incomes and professional careers that they never possibly imagined, because of what this industry has been able to offer. And it has been so fun to watch those young, immature folks. We talk a little bit about that. We hire a ton of interns inside of our organization, become unbelievable professionals, selling a model that's making and impacting people's financial protection inside of what they do, and their health insurance, and making great decisions and being able to guide them. There's nothing more rewarding than that. That's really where my passion lies, and how I got into the business.
What's the one thing for these interns? What is the one thing that, when you have an opportunity to interact with them, that you're trying to impart on them, to instill in them, to take them from intern status to full-time employee with your firm?
So it's pretty cool. So we have about 150 producers as we sit today. So our organization, almost 50 of those came through our intern program. So I've got to experience a bunch. But the number one thing we love to see is teaching someone to become a student of the industry, and the importance of that. And that there is no exception, no technology, nothing that's going to replace the importance of truly being knowledgeable in your expertise. And we've even taken that to another level as we've introduced specialization into our models, of them become true experts, and not only insurance inside of that specialization, but knowing that specialization inside and out. That may be, that could be underwater welding from a specialization, but knowing it as good as anybody, and being able to talk that language. We've gone out as far as hiring owners of those type businesses to become experts inside of those things, and really developing to really be part of that, not just as a career as a producer or a salesman, but to be someone that's embedded in that marketplace, and to truly make a difference inside the industry, not just inside of insurance.
Well, it's sort of like, the kid that's a pretty good athlete, but he stopped growing at 5'7", so he goes and becomes a coach. Just because you're passionate about an industry, I mean, like, if I may be passionate about trucking, but selling trucking insurance is like, you know what I mean? You can find that outlet within insurance, and it doesn't have to be just boring old general insurance. I'm curious, take us through briefly, like, what's your internship? You guys have a program in terms of like a process that you follow? I'm curious to know what that is.
You'll like this because it's got a lot of fun, first of all.
Okay.
So I have interns in and out of our office all day long. So right now, I think company-wide, we have 44 interns. And when it started out, this used to be a sales function. Now we use it all completely across the company because we believe in it. We can talk a little bit more about how that's kind of evolved as well. But, the neat part of that is they really start out as runners by every definition of it. They may go pick up boxes at the house. They may go clean the company car. They may be taking the trash out, clean up the kitchen. And during that time, you're looking for those core qualities of respect, appreciation, look people in the eye, manners, their work desire, their way that they approach whatever that they're faced with. They really don't know, but they're living the test drive that whole time, and to watch and see what if those things rise. We also use a tool to test those before we'll hire an intern. We know what their profile is, and we know if they fit and if where that profile fits inside of our organization. So we'll try to place them inside of one of the disciplines, account management, marketing, sales, whatever that may, claims, employee benefits, whatever that may be, based upon that profile. So we're already doing some preliminary setup, which they don't know what we're doing from that perspective, to see if they're a fit. And, we'd probably hang on to 1 in 3 of them to see and identify those things. But then once we do, so we try to hire them as sophomores, Bradley, and get a year and a half of that in there. Typically, they're working 20 hours, 25 hours while they're in school, typically at UK or Western Kentucky University, but we do some with some other partnering universities as well. And then get them into the mix. And most of them have zero desire because of that best unknown secret out there about our career, have zero desire to get insurance. And all of a sudden, they start becoming attracted to what they're around. And you take them on a sales call. You get them involved in client engagement. You have them involved in parts of the business, and all of a sudden they start saying, "Hey, man, this is a career that I really want to continue to explore." And 90% of our interns that come here have a desire to want to move forward with this. We have to obviously be selective. We can't hire every one of them, and we have some great people. But we truly love on them, coach them. I always tell them, if your breath smells, I'm going to tell you, because I want them to walk out here as a better professional.
A lot of times you have to teach them how to work.
You do, and a lot of parenting too. Ron, right. In today's world, we're not just teaching them work; we're teaching them etiquette, anything from dress to the way they prepare themselves for situations. They walk in. Do they have a notepad with them? Do they have a pen? Are they prepared to do that? How accurate are they when you give them a set of instructions to be able to act that out? I mean, you're looking for some core stuff. But it's amazing how hungry they are once they realize it's a safe environment to take constructive feedback, and then being able to take that and apply it, and then them using their skill sets to exemplify that. It's been a lot of fun, and it's probably one of the favorite things of our organization and keeps us. We take a ton of pride. If you put an age band around our 450 employees that we have here, we're almost equally spread between 20 and 30, 30 and 40, 40 and 50, 50 and 60. And we take a ton of pride in that. And there is a ton of energy that pushes up from the youngest to the oldest that keeps us older folks young because of that energy that they bring to the table. And really your desire to see them be successful. I truly think that is one of the best models that we have that truly differentiate us inside of the market.
So, Andy, I've got to ask, building Houchens Insurance Group, the story, the employee ownership story. I told Bradley yesterday, we talked briefly at 4:30 yesterday. I said, I am wildly interested in hearing the story of how the agency came to be. I know that
God is obsessed with ESOPs.
I'm obsessed with ESOPs.
It's like a weird obsession too. So one of the first things I knew about him is he was obsessed with ESOPs.
I'm obsessed with ESOPs. You hear different things from different people about, well, you got to be this much revenue, blah, 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 blah. And then the way you you guys took 5 legacy agencies and merged into one. Talk about all that.
Well, so this is a little history. So you have these 5 legacy agencies that came together, and they were all independently owned organizations that were there. And underneath the a little history behind that. A portion of those 5 agencies were bank owned at one point in time. And we were looking for an exit strategy from the situations there, and we were looking at buying it ourselves. And when we looked at that, obviously, the challenges of leveraging everything you could possibly have and being able to we were about $15 million organization at that point in time, and realized that, hey, we needed to explore some other options. And so there was a 100% owned ESOP. It's called a diversified ESOP. So they have representation in different industries, why it's called diversified. And we became part of them in August of 2006. And we did it because it was a good solution at that point in time. I would love to tell you that we had the foresight to see the impact it would really make and what difference it would make to our organization. But we did it because it was a great fit for us at that point in time, that we could bring some immediate value to the overall diversified ESOP, which is Houchens Industries, and that it was going to make a great home for us. So as we did that, we began to understand the value of ESOPs. For anybody that doesn't know, that's employee stock ownership plan. So anybody that is a full-time vested employee with us is annually receiving a contribution based upon the success of the overall organization that they get, and it's just basically based on your W-2. There are some caps that go along with that, but so everybody is shared ownership. So there is no Andy shoving his pockets in this or any of the executive team. This is something we share throughout. And we teach an ownership mentality from day one. When you onboard inside of Houchens Insurance Group, we talk about that. And as the industry has evolved, it has always typically been a producer-led, strong organization or ownership from that perspective. We've been able to spread that throughout and have created this team environment because of that ownership mentality, that everybody has that ownership mentality. And it not only does it create great retention, but it creates great involvement and engagement and desire to better the organization in ways that you couldn't imagine. And remember, I come from a very corporate background, 10 years inside of a publicly traded organization. We all ask ourselves our why. Well, if we all have different whys, and then you could think about that from many different perspectives. But our why as an ESOP, our why is, hey, we wanted to offer unbelievable experience for our client, and the benefit comes back to every one of our owners, and our owners just happen to be our employees. And that's a model unbelievably hard to argue, and you can build on it and build on it. And we are completely transparent with all of our financials. We talk about everything from contingencies to good months and bad months and challenges that we have. We're an EOS-based company, so we have a business management practice that we talk about our rocks, our goals openly, so that everybody's part of that and they feel that ownership. And when you're trying to accomplish tasks, like what I'm so proud about our organization is our ability to be nimble and quick. And I think Vishal has been a great example of how we could do this and how we embedded this in what we've done. But when we decided, hey, we need to be committed to a better technology path, and we found the partner, and he and his team have been an unbelievable partner. I know that's not this commercial for that, but I'm just telling you, it truly has been that. And our ability to be able to adapt to the changes and with the needs that we had, well, that only comes when you have people that are fully bought in. And we have an unbelievable team at all levels that are engaged because of that ownership mentality. And that ESOP, it has truly been our differentiator. If you put 3 things that make Houchens Insurance Group what they are, I've already talked about one of them, internships. I truly believe that is a differentiator for us. I believe that the ESOP and ownership mentality has been a true differentiator for us. And then finally, we team sell everything. So we have multiple producer and specialization involved in every sale that we have. Those are the 3 things that have been engaged our success, and how we went from, we were a $15 million agency at that point in time. We sit today at $150 million.
When you guys were 15, was that 15 organic, or was there M&A in there as well?
If you took the M&A, we're 30 millions of M&A. If you take all the 5 core agencies and any other acquisitions that we've added on to that. So we've bolted on 5 other small agencies. So we have 15 locations now, and the organic growth has been from 30 million to it's really 100. right at 140 million as we sit today.
Well, you're kind of a rarity in that, a lot of the big top 100 agencies, nothing wrong with this model at all. They tend to acquire, and then they get big by osmosis. They're just so big, they get bigger. It seems like you guys are like really good at organic, and you also acquire.
Well, so Brad, that's a great. So our model is not to grow through acquisition, but is to spread our footprint,
Yeah.
so that we can take our model and be able to take that to other places and be able to expand that model. And we've been blessed with a sales model and a onboarding and training program from production, and through those interns that we've been very successful on the development of new producers inside of our model. So but yes, you make a great point, and that continues to be our philosophy. But we still do look for, we're very, what you would say, controlled growth. We're not looking for anything out there from acquisition. We're very selective, and typically we're wanting to spread that footprint and get into new markets that we haven't been in.
Hey, Andy, artificial intelligence at HIG. What was your first reaction? Where do you stand on it today? I'd love to get your opinion of, skeptic, believer when you first saw it, and then fast forward to today, and where are you today?
So artificial intelligence, great question too. Very skeptical about it at first, but very scared of it at first as well, and needed to dive in to understand it. We love challenges, and I love challenges, but needed to embrace that first. And I've been blessed. I went out and hired a 23-year-old that was a friend of my daughter, and Vishal and I think very highly of, that has come in and brought a whole nother perspective and really enlightened me and the direction of our organization as openness and how it could be an enhancement to what we've done. So I would say that we started off skeptical and scared to excited and limitless, because we see the value it can truly bring to us in what we do. And so when we changed our mindset to say, hey, how can we utilize technology? And they don't like me overusing AI. They want me to talk about the technology piece of it. But and AI is an unbelievably important component of that. But how can it take what are the bottlenecks of what we do today and eliminate that, so we can be that much more effective in what we do so well? So really, it has been 100% an enhancement. It took me a little while to realize that it's just not about an AI solution, access to Copilot or ChatGPT or Claude. It's about having something that's truly embedded in our workflow and system. This is what Vishal and Outmarket has truly been able to do. It flows with our ability to be able to execute more effectively what we do on a daily business. And you all will know this, Bradley, Scott, I know, but one of the challenges of our industry is we're such traditionalists and done it so one way so long, to getting our folks acquainted with the change and our ability to be able to adapt to the challenges of that change going forward. So you always kind of have to win them over. It's always a sales process, but we've been able to experience we have already experienced the success of that, and we have so much more to go from our ability to be able to implement some of those things inside of our system as we become more standardized inside of our workflow model.
Yeah, I'll say this about our workflow relative to before and after Outmarket and some of the other technologies that we've used. It seems like, the way that we do policy reviews or renewals has changed a lot, utilizing those platforms and being able to review policies, or it could even be a prospect where we get a policy from somebody, we can
Do a comparison.
throw it into Outmarket and then compare versus what we're going to provide. There's so many things, and I was saying this to Bradley, I guess in a couple of podcasts ago, like, man, isn't it crazy where we are today versus where we were a year ago, and what we have at our disposal, at our fingertips.
That's a little scary to think. And then you can't get but excited to think where we're going to be in 3 years and 5
Correct.
years.
I
And
don't
what
I
we're
don't
gonna
know
like.
how I would do my job without some of the stuff I have now. And I'm like, I just did it 6 months ago, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
insane.
Just
And
think
also,
about policy check-in from our perspective. I mean, it has been earth-changing for us. Even if you just take the time element, not the satisfaction or not even the accuracy or pickup that we've got through that, but that has been a game changer. You take that times 240 service reps and talk about efficiency. Man, that is a game changer to our business model that has freed up time that we can truly focus on really truly offering a quality product to the end user, being our client.
one of the things, Andy, I remember when we initially engaged with Houchens, I still remember my call with your teammates. And what was like really refreshing was the intention behind sort of like why they were looking at AI, right? It was not about like, hey, we need AI for some things. They were like very clear about here are the workflows, here where it's taking our team members a lot of time. And just to kind of lay out the point that people who start with like, hey, here are the specific challenges for our team members that we want to solve, get a great starting point, right? There's just so much AI can do. But if you're so intentional about like, here are the things that we want to start with, we want to actually bring the team members along. I still remember from our early calls that was very much about like, we buy a lot of technology and a lot of team members don't end up using it, right? How do we make sure that actually everybody buys into this, everybody starts using this, and everybody starts seeing the impact they can have? And I think the way Houchens approached it and your team approached it in terms of being very intentional about the key things they wanted to do and making sure they're bringing the people along, because ultimately they are the ones who have to practice it and see the impact that you're seeing today, right? So, yeah.
Well, and so, Vishal, I remember that meeting well when y'all first came in. You brought your whole team with you. But one thing that we had done, Scott and Bradley, is that we had taken a workflow and identified from the very beginning all the way to the very end and identified bottlenecks inside of that. And what we found is, there was really about 4 or 5 places that were blatantly, catastrophically impacting our ability to get our work done, and really piling work up on account managers' desks that they were just unhappy. I'm talking about crying, upset, didn't like their jobs. And I think now there's a whole other sense around that. First of all, they've seen us fix and address those issues through technology, specifically through things we've implemented with our partnership. But also it gives a sense of hope about what's capable going forward, because we've already proven those out. So not only just the appreciation for the fixes we've made, but man, the excitement about where are we going with this and where does it limit us? And I think that's the fun part of it. And man, that's why what we know as an industry, and what we got to continue to remember is we do these things to enhance the client experience from that perspective. And how are we going to continue to pour into that as we find these tools? And and I'm super excited about revenue opportunities that's going to generate going forward. We started out with efficiency and effectiveness and quality, and that is slowly evolving to how do we maximize to grow revenue, how to round accounts to ensure full no gaps inside of any coverage perspective. So it's you can see a long runway that's getting ready to lead out, just getting started now.
How many employees you guys have?
We have 450 as it sits today.
Google it said 400.
You can add our interns on there and make it even a bigger number if you want.
Yeah. It's like when people add their VAs, even though they are part of the team. But
exactly.
Yeah. One of the things that we've been thinking about here now, obviously, I've got a team of 17, so managing 17 and 400, two different, totally different ballgame. But I've picked, obviously, I'm all in on AI. But I've picked up, there's a level of skepticism, I think, and fear amongst employees. And I've done a lot of legwork in trying to dispel that, because they see the press releases, such and such fires 600 employees, and they blame it on AI, right? It's just a good excuse sometimes. And, one of the things we have looked at doing is because sometimes it's hard because you have the skepticism, but then sometimes it's hard for an employee who is neck deep in work. It's like a forest for the trees thing, right? They don't think like owners do sometimes, where it's like, hey, how could we automate this, or how could we delegate this, et cetera. But to try and get them to take a step back, we've thought about implementing essentially an idea portal to say, hey, submit your ideas for a part of your job that can be automated with AI. By the way, we're not going to fire you. However much money that saves the company if we implement it, we're going to give you a percentage of that as like a bonus to say thank you. You know, and have you guys dealt with that, and have you looked at different ways to try and get, because I would imagine that, you know, if you were an account manager for a day, you would come up with umpteen ideas of things that you could use out market for that maybe we haven't thought of yet.
We definitely miss this. By all means, so we have a dedicated team that does specifically that takes input from the different disciplines inside the business about where is it that we can improve. Now, you can only imagine, you've all seen it. So we've got to be very, and so that team helps us narrow that list down to say, hey, what are those things that can be most effective and where could it make the greatest impact and addressable? So obviously lowest hanging fruit first. And we still have a significant pile of that to go through, but we have, and we encourage that. And we want to create an environment where they feel that we're reactive to that and that we are out to really draw true solutions to those problems. And so we do something very similar. Ours is a company-wide bonus based upon that we're all pulling in the same direction. And it could be a lot of fun at the end of this year for our folks. But you've got to encourage, incentivize them, and you're going to find different categories of the laggers and those people that are super accelerated inside of that, and balance those two out. And how do you bring the others along? You really have to have a management strategy. The other challenge I'd say is, hey, how are we looking at the new employees that we hire today, and are they versed? Do they have the skill set to want to take and apply those things? And how do we test for that in advance so that we can continue to propel ourselves forward?
We started doing a job shadow because we use a lot of tech, and usually people that come here from other agencies, they struggle with the tech. I started just bringing them in and like shadow somebody, and we've actually had more people say, I can't do this, than we have had that said, yeah. And I'm like, okay, you just saved me and you a whole lot of time and money.
Well, then that's where they see their value, and absolutely. And some people don't have that mindset that they want to change because they feel that that's the value that they've brought. And it's probably a little bit threatening inside of that as well. But especially for our existing employees, we have to bring that barrier down because our motto is not to downsize. And what you said earlier about what's happened in the industry, giving that a bad name about that, that's not where we're going. And we are going for enhancement. Now, we may not hire as many going forward as we gain efficiencies, but we're not letting anybody go from that perspective. Yep. And that is nowhere in our model or a game plan. But what is in our model or game plan is to pay our people more because we can do the better jobs better and deliver a better client experience and create and generate more revenue so that everyone benefits in that. So our mission is to have fewer people making more money, doing more specific tasks and less things that can be done through automation and technology. And that we talk about it openly in our ownership mentality. That's where we want to go, and that's who we want to be.
And that's the thing, guys. For those of you listening to this that are not agency owners, like that's the thing. It's like yes, it's going to slow down hiring, but if you're more efficient and you are able to focus on higher level work, more important work, everybody's going to make more money.
Amen. You got it.
Andy, my favorite questions coming up here on this podcast.
All right.
What are the winning independent agencies going to look like in 5 years versus the losing agencies?
I love to tell the story. I know everybody's heard it now. It's good, but I went and saw an AI guys. We're part of AssureX, which I'm a huge believer in. But there was a speaker there talking about AI one time. He came back and sat down. You asked a great question. Now, of course, I was scared to death, and I asked him. I said, "Hey," I said, "you tell me this is going to put us out of business?" He grabbed my shoulder and said, "No, I'm not telling you it's going to put it in business. I'm just telling you that people that don't adapt to it are going to be out of business." And man, it's so true. And so I think that us as independent agencies have to be nimble and quick. I think that we're going to have to continue to be well-versed in change and our ability to be able to adapt to that change. I think that the ones that can't do that, I think that will stall them at some point in time. And But I think the ones that will truly thrive, Scott, and I love your question, are going to be the people that are willing to be able to adapt and be nimble and quick in the marketplace. And that comes inside of a culture, not inside the size of your ship or how quickly you can turn the rudder. It's going to be a culture that's going to be open to that mindset and willingness to change. I also think that it's going to be those organizations that are client focused, that understand the sales, the true sales experience, and how do we differentiate those? Because, not only are we going to have to worry about other threats coming from a technology perspective, but we're going to have to worry about the bigs as they continue to get their feet underneath them from the mass amounts of data that they have. How do we continue to keep that? So I think the organizations that will thrive will be those people that can, or those organizations that can have clean data, that'll have standardization so that they can maximize on technology, that can truly deliver an exceptional client experience through specialization inside of everything that they do. And I would say those are probably the greatest components just off the top of my head.
That's a great answer. Good thing I'm recording this. I'm going to get to go back and listen to that again because
Oh, dude, I know.
that was a fantastic answer. I may use that sometime. So, rapid fire close here, guys. Rapid fire questions. I'm going to ask 5 questions. Andy, are you ready for the 5 questions? This is the IGP rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Scale of 1 to 10. 1 being lowest, 10 being the most nervous you have ever been in your entire life. Your daughter is on the stage. Final.
Can't talk about it.
Hey, she's up there.
It brings tears to my eyes. Yeah.
Miss Kentucky, USA. She's on the stage with 2 or 3 other girls. They're getting ready to call out the winner. How nervous were you on a scale of 1 to 10?
I wanted to throw up and cry at the same time. I can't even put it on a scale. You will never know what that feeling was like. And there's so much behind that story, but probably one of the coolest experiences of my life. And so here's what you need to know before I go any further is that my daughter is not a typical pageant girl, and we never thought she had a chance of winning. And I was on a plane that I'd gotten there just a few minutes before the first time she was announced as Miss Teen. And me and my wife were dying. I mean, no way I could ever describe that moment other than just you even mentioned it brings tears to my eyes and the hair stands on my back and my neck. So
shout out to Maddie. Maddie, congratulations.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Miss Kentucky, USA. That's unbelievable. So next question. Who is the most famous person you have in your phone that you could pick up the phone and call right now?
Wow, most famous person. I could golly, I gotta think about that one. Who's the most famous person I can pick up the phone right now? I'm scared to say it's a politician.
No. We won't make you say
same
which
for
one.
Bradley. Same for Bradley.
No, it's not mine.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. Red Clay Strays or Nashville Country?
Red Clay Strays all day. Probably my favorite, most impactful. Man, I love what they stand for. I love the background and their music. It just hits right at home.
All right, let me tell you a story real quick. So I'm currently sitting in the hometown of the Red Clay Strays. So we have a new arena.
Bradley saw their lead singer at the grocery store the other night.
Yeah.
Really? Man, what a cool dude. I mean,
I'm walking by, I see this guy wearing sunglasses. I'm like, why is that dude wearing sunglasses inside? I'm like, oh, it's Brandon Coleman. His wife's parents live in the town I live in, little suburb. But like the sunglasses made him stand out more, But I shouldn't say this on the air, Scott, but I'm going to say this. So there's a new arena being built here locally. Nobody from Mobile listens to this. Portal's doing a sponsorship at the arena. And I was talking to the guy yesterday, and I noticed they announced this comedian, and this is a big arena company. They manage Acrisure Arena, actually. I saw this comedian was announced. I was like, is that the first act? Because I'd never heard of that guy. And he's like, no, he's actually the first announcement. He's like, we got a nice little homegrown, thing for the first concert in January. I said, oh, it's okay. So I can look forward to the Red Clay Strays. And he was like, hey, so this is the Red Clay Strays. So anyway, I think they're going to open the arena up. But I did see the lead singer at the grocery store.
They're coming to Nashville in October, and I cannot wait. I'm stoked about it.
If you go to Apple Music or Spotify, there's a live album on there, live at Callahan's.
Okay.
Callahan's is 1 block from my office.
All right.
A year ago, they did a pop-up show 1 block from my office. I had no idea.
Oh, man.
Next question. One atomic habit principle. One atomic habit principle that every agency owner should steal.
Man, my favorite book of all times. And it starts with the small stuff. So what I would tell you is that your habits are a direct reflection of your values. So look at your value, and does your habit support that? And what your organization stands for, what you stand for.
I love that. Last question of the day. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Finish this sentence. In 2030, the agency that wins will be the one that.
I'm going to try not to be redundant here because some of the same things I said earlier, but it's going to be the ones that are adaptable to change.
Nimble.
That's what it's going to be.
Nimble.
It's going to be the ones that can really take on and adapt to the change and take the challenge. There's going to be challenges that none of us could even imagine. They're going to come in that time period because of technology, and you're going to be able to adapt, change, and have great partners.
Andy, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, I hope we got accomplished what y'all wanted to today. Y'all been a pleasure. Scott, Bradley, Vishal, thank you for all you do for us, man. You're a class act, and thank y'all for having me today. I believe in what y'all do. I've listened to y'all's podcast, and y'all have fun doing it, and that's what this job needs to be like.
Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. Hey, co-host, not
Thanks,
you,
Bradley.
not you, Bradley. Hey, co-host, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Scott. Thanks, Bradley. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you, sir.
Guys, you were listening to the Insurance Guys podcast. And as I end every episode, rewards come from action, not discussion. Get your ass out from behind that desk today. Go out into the big bad world. Stop shuffling paperwork on your desk and looking up the $3 in commissions Travelers didn't pay you last month. And go build relationships. Make money for your wife, for your husband, for your kids' college fund, and for your parents and in-laws like mine that are struggling out there. Go make money for them. Write good business for the agencies that you represent, and write good business for the carriers that you represent. Bradley Flowers, I love you.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Vishal.
Guys,
Thanks,
thank
Andy.
you
Thanks,
guys
Scott.
for
Thanks,
being
Andy.
here. Guys, you are listening to the Insurance Guys podcast, and we love each one of you. Thank you so much for being a part of our family, and we'll see you back here real soon. Take care.